everyone, welcome back to my bathroom. It's been a while since we've been back in my bathroom. Recently I posted a video where I frogged a 31-foot long tube of yarn, and I mentioned in that video that if I was going to use that yarn again, I would have to wash it. Also, I happened to look to see that my second most watched video at the moment is me attempting to shrink a wool hat in the wash. Which honestly I think is more for the fact that my nipple pokes through my shirt than the fact that people are interested in watching me wash yarn. Just on the offset that it is because people are interested in watching me attempt to wash yarn, I figured I would show the process of me attempting to wash the yarn. I'm not going to throw it in the washing machine this time. Even though it's like a bunch of acrylic yarn and polyester and all sorts of synthetic stuff, I don't really have to worry about it felting too much. But I still want to keep it somewhat gentle because I know that I'm working with yarn that is at least 9 to 10 years old at this point. I figured out that since I ended the monster in November of 2014 and I worked on it for 1 3/4 of a year, that means it started in 2013, which means the oldest yarn in here is at least a decade old. And some of that yarn was dissolving, when I was unwinding it. So my game plan is I got 2 buckets in that laundry sink there, and I'm gonna kind of do it like how you wash dishes on a camping trip. I'm gonna have a bucket with the soapy detergent-y water, and then a bucket with like the clear water, and then I'm going to hang it on these things to dry, which means it may take a while for it to dry. And also some of these are permanently bent from when I tried to use this as a Swift about 2 years ago. Especially like, I know some yarns like this one are not going to do well in the washing machine. This is literally metal. I'm going to show you some close-ups of my setup. So here are the 2 buckets in the sink. This one's going to be the hot water, which is still kind of burning okay. And this one is the cooler water. And I figured I'd use the dirtier bucket for the washing part, so that way when it came to rinsing, we could have it as clean as possible. Yeah. And I'm thinking I can just use like regular laundry detergent. I do kind of want to try a Tide Pod first because I don't know what it looks like when they dissolve, but I can feel anytime I put it into the washing machine that it feels like it's about to dissolve on me, so I want to see what that looks like. But if it doesn't work, we got our good old standby here. Yeah, there is actually something in there. And then we're going to hang it on this lovely thing. And we're going to leave a towel down below, so that way we don't have to deal with wet tile. Because wet tile feels ugh. Here we go. I got the Tide Pod here. Or you toss it in there and see what happens. Ooh. Do I have to like agitate it or pop it? Let's see here. Ah. Oh my gosh. Wow. Ugh. I might want to put some cold water in there because like that's about to burn me. How's that feeling? Oh, that's better to the touch. Oh, look at that. That's like so slimy. Ew. And it's actually dissolved. I knew it would dissolve because like when it's in the washing machine, you never find any things, but I guess it's going to add a bit of a film to it. Yeah. Okay. Ooh. Now that we got that in, we're going to start the process of washing the first skein of yarn. I'm not going to show like the whole, like all the yarns per se, because I'm not sure I have a viable way to film this, like a good shot, but I am going to film one of me doing it one-handed. All right, so we're going to use this guy here. Ooh. I guess I should unwind it first, so I just have it like that. And we just put it in there. Ooh, look at that. It's like guess I don't want to do it too much. Just enough to like get it everywhere. I probably should have it soaked, but I don't feel like waiting that long. Ooh, it feels soapy. You rarely get to feel yarn so soapy, yeah? I guess I hit it ultra concentrated with the Tide Pod. Now we're going to move it to the clean buddy over here and just rinse it out. That seems to have taken most of it out. And now we're going to strain this bad boy. Just get some of the extra drippy drips out of the way. One, so we don't waste water, but two, so I don't have like any more of a drenched towel on a tile floor than I need it to be. Yeah. Of course, it'll be easier once I do this with two hands, but here we are. I think we got it mostly at this point. And this is why I made sure to use a scrap yarn when I was winding it to shut, so that way I could easily find it without like getting it super tangled. So we bring it over here, we take it here, and we place it to dry. And voila! Now I gotta do this 41 more times, at least. I just finished my 9th skein of rinsing and washing, and I'm realizing that this may be taking more water and resources and soap than I thought I was gonna need. I mean, I'll have enough to do it, but let me show you something. These are the buckets after the 9th skein. I mean, look at how brown that water is. And then this one looks like it was the one I was meant to be washed. And you can kind of see there's still a bunch of dirty water in that one as well. Then over here, look at that. Look at how much water is dripping onto that towel. I'm gonna have to put it on another towel soon. Or another towel soon. The yarn, like, I'm squeezing it, but it's holding a lot more water than I was expecting it to. Although I'm realizing that these pom-poms here might have been dry clean. We'll have to wait till they're fully dry to see if they return back to their fluffiness. And this one is the first yarn in which I'm actually concerned about whether it's going to felt onto itself or not. Because the last time I attempted to yarn and I put it in the washing machine, I did end up felting some. But we'll have to wait till it's dry. Nothing I can do except wait till it's dry at this point. But yeah, it's time to change out the water. This is like you throw out the baby with the bath water type of water. All right, so one of the more delightful parts of this is seeing how the yarn looks when it's like in the rinsing part to get underwater. So I'm gonna show you that real quick. Like, oh my gosh, look at that, right? Like, it's a lot easier to get fluidity when both of my hands are in there. But if I was a mermaid, this is what I would want my hair to look like. We have spread to the second towel though, which means the downside is I forgot that I was wearing socks and now my socks are wet, and it's not a texture that I like. But I mean, it is what it is, right? Here are all my finished children, all washed and rinsed out. And I had to replace the towels underneath. I got a huge beach towel and I lost my socks. It just got too wet for them. At this point, there's really nothing to do except wait for it to drip dry. Considering how much water it kept soaking up, like there were times where I almost ran out of water from the wash bucket because the yarn kept soaking it up and not returning it despite straining. I imagine it's going to take a couple days, but that's not going to be a problem since I have the house to myself for the next several days anyway. I was not expecting the Tide Pods to be as much of a sensory nightmare as they were on my hands. My hands did not like the texture of the Tide Pods, but they aren't made to be a hand soap. They're made to just be tossed inside the washing machine. So that's on me. The third time I just poured in the liquid detergent. It's like, okay, I've had enough of the sensory thing. We can go with the normal detergent, because the thing that makes it a sensory nightmare is that icky plastic that's around it that dissolves. It makes me think of the people who ate the Tide Pods as like an internet challenge. Those people were insane. I mean, they were insane for eating laundry detergent to begin with, but they were insane for wanting that in their mouth when I couldn't even stand it on my hands. And you would think I would know this because I've had a job where I've had to clean up laundry detergent, but most of that laundry detergent was not touched by hand. It was touched by paper towel. I'm wondering how much of the yarn texture is going to be changed, because some of this yarn has never been washed. Because why would you wash yarn before using it? I mean, like, I'm wondering if this yarn's going to recoup, yeah. And I'm hoping they do dry quick enough that the cottony yarns, like this one, don't start to get moldy. And it does smell a little bit like a wet dog in here. Although it's more wet sheet, because there are some yarns that are made with wool. The one benefit of the laundry detergent, though, was it actually cleaned the bucket. It's like one of the buckets was really stained, and apparently repeatedly washing yarn in the bucket helped clean it up. Who knew? I'm gonna check back in when this is dry so we can like evaluate what the damage is. We're about 24 hours out from when I first washed them. The top is bone dry, but the bottom is sopping wet. I am starting to think that maybe they should be spread a little bit farther together, except I know if I put it on that last thing that's right there, they're going to touch the ground, which is still wet. So just a little bit longer, I think. All right, so I want to say it's been like 48-ish hours now, and some of the stuff was just way too wet at the bottom, even though the tops of all of these are essentially dry. It's just the bottoms at this point. So I already removed the ones that were completely dry so I could spread out the ones that were not as dry. And I also rearranged some of them, and I replaced a towel underneath so that way the wet towel wouldn't be feeding back into the yarn. And that's where I'm gonna leave this video. So overall, it's been a success. Next time I'm gonna have to actually see whether the yarn survived when I try to wind it up. Anyway, that was today's entertainment. Have a nice day.